Honey the Bumblebee is the sweetest Valentine. Complete with a wide smile and a cute little stinger, she'll buzz right into your heart. Follow the link in the description below to download the companion pattern. It includes instructions for 2 sizes of both the bee and the heart. Then watch the video tutorial, How to Crochet the Heart Valentine, to see just how Honey's accessory is crocheted. Here's the buzz.
So we're going to form a slip knot and chain 2. And then in the second chain from the hook, which is this one right here, we're going to work 6 single crochets. Now, once you put your hook through the first time, you're going to wrap it and then work the 6 single crochets. Now, we are not going to join this, but we are going to work in a spiral. We're going to insert our hook right into the first stitch and work 2 single crochets in each of the stitches. Now I'm going under both loops of the stitch below. On the next round, we're going to go under the next one and then 2 in the next, which increases 6 across 12 stitches. You do want it to be nice and firm because this is a doll and it will have stuffing. And note, because I wound that yarn around the thing, all I have to do is pull that up and see how tight that center becomes. So we have 18 stitches around this. Now we're going to start decreasing. So we're going to work 1 single crochet in the next stitch. Now we're going to insert under the next stitch, pull up a loop, insert under the next stitch, pull up a loop. That's 3 loops on hook, yarn over it, and pull through all 3. That's a single crochet 2 together. So then we're going to work 1 stitch, 1 single crochet in the next stitch, then a single crochet 2 together. You're going to do this a total of 6 times around. And now I'm going to turn it right side out, and you can see how it's cupping under. That's because we're shaping the little head and making the head all in one piece. Now, on this round, we're going to work single crochet 2 togethers all the way around. And you're going to do it nice and tight as you can humanly do that. Now we're going to leave a 6-inch yarn tail, and we're going to finish this off. This yarn tail we've already snugged up at the beginning. Just use that as stuffing, and then we have a little polyester stuffing. Now you want the head to be sort of flat, like that. And so now we can thread up our yarn tail, and all we're going to do is draw our stitch, just the outer edge of it. Okay, our head is closed. Now I'm going to leave this end here because I may need it later. And I'm going to set this aside. Leaving an 8-inch yarn tail, we are going to begin the body. Form a slip knot and chain 2. Work 6 single crochets in the second chain from the hook. Remember what we did before. We wrapped it, and we're going to work 6. 1, 2. Now we've marked our last stitch of that round, and we're going to work 2 stitches in the next 2 stitches. So 1, 2. Make sure you get under both loops of the stitch below. That's 2 in the first one. Here's 2 in the second one. Then we're going to work 1 in the next stitch. Then we're going to repeat that. 2 in the next one. 2 in the next one. And remember I said our last stitch is marked, so that's 1 in that stitch. So that's 10 stitches around.
Round 3 is similar to round 2, but work 2 single crochets in each of the next 4 stitches and 1 single crochet in the next. Do it twice, so you end up with 18 stitches.
And all we're going to do to change the colors, Now this is a little different than how you would normally change colors. Now we're going to drop the black now and change to the yellow. You're going to insert the hook in the next stitch, pull up the new color, and pull it all the way through to slip stitch tightly. And then we're going to chain 1. We can pull that through. Before we go on, we're going to fold this in half, and we're going to mark the top and the bottom part of this little guy. It could be any 2 stitches, however you want that to be shaped. It doesn't matter which one is the top and which is the bottom. You can decide that later, but you do want to mark a top and a bottom. So my markers are where I will do my increases. And then you're going to work 1 at the top and 1 at the bottom. So we're going to increase 1, which is work 2 stitches in that very same stitch. Okay, and you want to pull that nice and tight. Now, since this is a tail, I'm going to lay it across here and I'm going to work around it so it buries it just a little bit. And you're going to work 1 single crochet all the way in each of the stitches around, except at the top and the bottom where you're going to increase. So now I'm going to just continue to work all the way to the next marker. So here's my next marker. So I'm going to work 2 stitches in it. Now my marker has split my yarn. You might not see that with the black, but I'm going to work 2 stitches in this stitch. 1 and 2. And I'm going to place my marker back here because that's important. And then I'm going to work 1 single crochet in each of the remaining stitches. Because I had 18 stitches and I increased 1 at the top and 1 at the bottom, I now have 20 stitches. Now on the next row, we're going to work 1 single crochet in each stitch around. When I do my even rounds, that's when I usually count. So I'll see you when I get to the end of this round. And in this case, I'm going to work 2 stitches at each marker. So I'm increasing 2. 1, 2. Because we're color changing after 3 rows. I'm going to pull that really tight. You can even lay it right across that hook. We're going to pick up the black that was a couple rows below. Make sure you get the strand that has attached to your ball of yarn. And then we're going to complete and slip stitch it all the way through. On this row, I'm going to just insert my hook and complete my single crochet. Now I'm going to go around that yellow yarn twice, then drop it off. That just helps tie it down, and then it'll be there for me to pick up. So I'm just doing 3 rows of 1 single crochet in each stitch. Insert my hook into this very same stitch, and I'm going around that black stitch and into the next stitch. And I'm going to do my decrease. So that was my only decrease on this particular round, so I'm just going to work 1 in each stitch around.
With yellow, continue working the shaping at the markers as noted for the next 2 rows.
I make mine with little stingers, but some people might not want little kids going around going zip, 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 zip. They'll make me imaginative. But anyway, if you don't want a little stinger on the end and you want to just end it with this little butt like that, then you can cut your yellow at this point. However, I'm going to put a stinger on, so I'm going to leave it attached. So I just drop my yarn here. I don't cut it, okay? And I switch over to my black.
On row 13, place 2 decreases at the top marker and 2 decreases at the bottom marker, just like you've done before.
After row 13, we're going to softly stuff the body. That's nice. And you see how thin it is that way? Now we can finish the last 2 rows. That brings us back to the top. And this is the point where you change your color. Now I've cut my yarn, so I have a 6-inch yarn tail in black. I'm going to insert my hook in the very next stitch lay that yarn over just like I did before, pull up a loop, and slip stitch. And then I'm going to chain 3. This is the stinger. You can omit this if you want. Then pull up a loop in the next one and work a slip stitch, and then in the last one and do a slip stitch. Now I'm going to pinch that end together, and I'm going to put my hook right through it, and I'm going to work a single crochet. So there's my little stinger. And this is the top, and there's my little stinger at the bottom. See how it points down a little bit? Now, we're going to cut a yellow, leaving about 8 inches, and pull that through. We're going to use this end just to shape that little bit more, just so it looks neat and clean. Make a slip knot about 2 feet from the end, maybe a little more generous. You don't want to run out. With a double strand of black, you're going to chain 16. So I'm going to cut my ends and pull them through. The shorter end I'm going to weave in. The other one I'm going to weave up through to the halfway point, and I'm going to leave it.
For the front legs, chain 14 with a double strand of yarn. Weave in 1 yarn tail to the middle and leave the other yarn tail at the end.
I am going to make a wing. About 6 inches from the end, I'm going to tie a slip knot. And I'm not going to make it real tight because I want to use it later. I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to work a half double crochet into that very first chain. Now I'm going to wrap my yarn just like I did before so that I can tighten it up later. So this is a half double crochet, chain 1, a double crochet, chain 1, another double crochet, chain 2. Now I'm doing another double crochet, chain 1, another double crochet, chain 1, and I'm going to finish with a half double crochet, chain 2, and a slip stitch into the very same stitch. So that's our little wing. Leave a 6-inch yarn tail and pull that through. Now that we have all of our pieces made, we are ready to assemble. Now, the first decision you want to make is, do you want your bee to face this way, or do you want them to face this way? So, since I already done one like this, I am going to face my bee going this way. And the first piece you add is the head. Now remember, we left the head with a little yarn tail in yellow. So I'm just going to thread this through to the outer edge. And that is where I'm going to attach the head. Now you can make it a little lower, you can make it a little higher. Each one is going to be a little bit different. I always attach the head before I put the face on. That way I can align the features the way I want them to be. Now I think it's smart to add the legs. And how you want to place it is you want the back leg right in the middle of the yellow. Oh, about a 1/2 inch up. And I'm going to stick my crochet hook through, and there we go. And I'm going to grab one end of the leg and pull it through. I'm going to pull it until I reach the halfway point where the yarn is coming out. So there we have our back leg placed. Why I have that end there is so that I can stitch through the leg and the body and secure the leg to the body with a couple of stitches, because I do not want a child to be able to pull out the leg. We're going to do the second pair of legs exactly the same way, but in this case we're going to go to the center of the front yellow stripe right here. The third one, which is the front leg, is placed almost to this first stripe. It's closer than the other one, but I'm doing the same methodology. And this time, I'm going to pull the end through that does not have a yarn tail on it. And I'm going to pull it through to the halfway point.
Use the halfway point yarn to secure the remaining legs.
So we've just put in the legs, except we still have this end here. Having the right side of it face me, remember, this one faces this way, this one's facing this way. So I'm going to take the front side of the heart and put it between the two legs here. This end, I will stitch through the foot on the back, through the heart, and then through the foot on the front. And so you just stitch it into place. You're going to pull the one that I wrapped around. See how I closed the wing up? Then I'm going to tie just a little knot here. And how I tie the knot is I do an overhand knot, and then I do another overhand knot, but a sort of a backwards one, where this comes in front of the back, and then the back one comes in front. It gives it a more secure knot. Now that I have those in place, so I want to put the wrong sides together so that they get attached on either side of the body. Now, if you notice, I attach it just behind the first yellow stripe. So once I have placed my wings, it's just a matter of sewing them into place. Now I have about a 28-inch piece of yarn, and I'm going to put it right through the top of this head where I want the antennas to come out. And I'm going to pull it through to about the halfway point. Insert the hook where the yarn comes out and go over a stitch. Pull up a loop and then chain 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. In the second chain from the hook. Now I'm going to try this one in the back loop. I'm going to work 3 single crochets. I did it in the top loop of the other one. I'm doing 3 single crochets and pulling this end through. Now see how my end is right there waiting for me? I thread up, and I'm going to stitch around those 3 single crochets just to shape the antenna. Each bee will have their own personality based on how you do the features. So I split some plies of the yarn. I've used the same yarn that I did on the body, but I'm going to come in from the back, and I'm using a sharper needle this time, and coming out where I think I want to place his eyes. Now I'm going to leave a little tail on the back. I can trim that later after I have it secured into place. So I'm going to just thicken this eye up a little bit. I like little bulging eyes on the little bumblebees. When I'm done making them as pretty as I want them to be, I'm just going to pull this here, and I'm going to trim both those ends on the back. It just becomes stuffing. I'm doing the same thing and splitting the yarn with the red. I'm going to use 2 plies of red, and I'm going to bring it up from the back yet again, straight through. Where do I want that smile to be? Now I'm going to leave that end on the back again, and I'm going to bring his smile all the way down as far as a couple of rows, and I'm going to stitch through here and come up where I came off before. But notice I'm holding my thumb down at the bottom, because this is the trick that I find when I start doing the little facial features. I want to make sure that smile doesn't get pulled up. Okay, so now it can come up just a little bit. And I think the shape of my thumb holding it in place will help. Now I'm just going to go down about 1/4 of an inch and stitch right there. Then come right across it and stitch. Come down another little bit. I hope you can see this. Let's do it over here. I'm going to come across the strand there and come right down because I'm using my thumb to hold the smile into shape. Now this time I'm splitting the yarn and I'm only going to use one ply because pupils are very tiny, especially on this little guy. I'm just going to stitch a little bit right at the tip, right in the middle. Don't want to put a lot on there. I'll show you how I secure these, especially if you're going to use them for children that are like 3 to 4 years old. Okay. So here's the secret. I have my fray check, and I'm going to put 1 drop on each eye, a couple of drops on the mouth. If you want, you can put a couple of drops on the wing, and do the one on the back, just at the base, and on his little stinger, and let it dry. Isn't he cute? You can also stiffen his legs a little bit, but I like him the way he is.
I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Please take a moment to subscribe and ring the bell to receive notifications of upcoming videos and events. Happy crocheting!